Hi guys, I'm Kathy Kelly at Full Sail University, and we just finished NXT TakeOver the End. I want to welcome my guest at this time, COO of WWE and the man behind NXT, Triple H. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's an exciting
Thank you.
time for you, and we're very excited to have you here, and what a night, right?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, and tonight was just so special. I mean, I want to talk about all the matches, everything that transpired, but first, I have to ask you, there's been so much speculation from the WWE universe as to what the end means, and I know I wanted to ask what your thoughts were when you named it.
Well, you know, I just want to take this time to say at this moment that NXT is no longer. I'm just kidding. No, just forget.
Scared all of us.
Yeah, no, I just blew up the internet. You know, this is one of those things that NXT TakeOver the End. It's multiple meanings. It's multiple. When you really look at what this night was, you know, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, the rivalry that they have had over the last 7 or 8 months has been just incredible. They've had epic matches. You know, Finn has won a couple, and Joe taking the title from him, and now coming back to this, and I kind of felt like this was the end of it. You know, this was the definitive end, and what do you do at the end? You put it inside of a steel cage, and you let them go to war, and you end it. That was one, you know, way of looking at this. You know, there was multiple ways, but the biggest way for me, and I think you saw it at the open of the show, is that NXT has been this just amazing transition from where it started. And you know, when you see that package and you see Seth Rollins as the first NXT champion, and you see Paige with the NXT Women's Championship, and you see where it started and how it started, and then eventually what it became and where we are now, and I really felt like we've transitioned now from being, you know, this developmental brand and that being our existence to being a brand in itself. And I truly believe that NXT is its own brand in every single way. So I kind of felt like if the beginning of what we were was that, tonight marked the end of that beginning. And that's exactly what we said it was. It's the end. We are now full-blown NXT, the brand, and that's where we're going to take it from here.
Yeah, it's definitely grown so much in the little time that it's been here.
Yeah.
I want to ask, TakeOver the End was the beginning for someone, Andrade Cien Almas. What did you think of his debut against Ty Dillinger?
Unbelievable. You know, Andrade is someone I've had my eye on for a long time, as he, you know, kind of, you know, really launched his career in Mexico and around the world. And to have him here now, for the first time in his career, to have him here, why anybody would put a mask on him is beyond me. He's, you know, from the reaction of the women here at Full Sail, he's a pretty good-looking guy. I don't know about the hat with a feather, but like that's his business. Whatever works for him. You know, what a debut to go in there, and I will say this: Ty Dillinger, probably the most underrated guy. Or the you know, like, just an amazing talent. There's something there that when he finally flips that switch, I think you're going to see something special. But he has every bit of gift and talent that you could ask for. So to see him in the ring and see Andrade Cien go through him like that in an impressive way, that's a hell of a debut.
Definitely. A hell of a match was the Tag Team Championship match. American Alpha versus The Revival. The Revival, now 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. What does this mean for the tag team division?
I think it just continues to mean that they are going to revolutionize tag team wrestling, and it's what they have done so far. I think it's what NXT has done. It's put the importance back in tag team wrestling, and I believe that I don't think this is done. I think the American Alphas, Revival, these guys are destined to do this for a while, I think. And, you know, when you see a match like they had tonight, just for our fans here, for fans of NXT, for fans around the world, like, I could watch them do that over and over again. It's just amazing. And, I think on any given night, either one of them could win. They're just a very well matched, team. Their teams are very well matched, and I think they could do this for a long time. So I don't think you've seen the end of that. But, hats off to Revival, first ever two-time NXT Tag Team Champions. That's something special.
I mean, like you said, they were going toe-to-toe. Both teams seemed to work very cohesively as teams. But then afterwards, we saw vicious attack on American Alpha and the reemergence of Paul Ellering, WWE Hall of Famer Paul Ellering.
Yeah. Not 100% sure what that was all about yet. Need to ask William Regal about that. Ellering was a surprise to me. But yet, just when you think you see the landscape of NXT and what's going on, all of a sudden, these two just monsters come in the door and make an impact. And if you're going to make an impact, what a way to make an impact. And to have them overseen by Ellering, if that's the case, I'm automatically interested. So I'm excited to see what I understand the authors of Pain. I'm interested to see what they'll bring to the table.
Definitely looking forward to it. One match that was a dream match for so many in the NXT universe, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries. These two have just competed all over the world, and both of them have said that NXT is the place to be. So what does that feel for you, knowing that NXT is kind of your baby?
That's awesome. It's, I think for a lot of people, a match with somebody like Austin Aries and Shinsuke Nakamura is just kind of one of those dream matches that outside of WWE you looked at for years and thought, what if? Nakamura is just, he's hard to explain. He's just this force of nature in the ring, and Austin Aries is, no slouch. So to see those two go at it, I think a dream match for everybody. But again, Nakamura, to me, proving why he is and was for a long time one of the most sought after talent in the world. And then to your point, shows you why NXT is the place to be, because those are the guys that are begging to walk through the door here. You see it time and time again. Guys at that level asking to be here in NXT.
Yeah, well, speaking to that, we've seen Bobby Roode both at NXT TakeOver Dallas and then again tonight walking into Regal's office. What was that about?
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, just an example of the whole world wanting to be here. NXT is a place to be. It is the hottest brand right now, anywhere. And I just think that everybody is clamoring to be here. Everybody, and that goes from the Austin Aries to the Nakamuras to the Bobby Roodes. This is the place to be. When you can bring that level of competition, when you can walk into the ring on any given night against Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, everybody wants to be here competing with that. If you're one of the women, you want to be here competing against Asuka, Nia Jax. This is the place to be. If you want to make your mark in the sports entertainment world, NXT is where you do it.
Yeah. You mentioned the NXT Women's Champ Asuka and Nia Jax. They had such an impressive match tonight, both just going toe-to-toe pretty much the entire time. Asuka won after kicking Nia Jax 3 times. So do you think that that's a setback at all for Nia Jax?
I don't. First of all, I haven't seen anybody push Asuka that hard since she's been here. And I don't mean that because I know Bayley took her to the limit, but at the same point in time, Asuka was in the driver's seat for a lot of that match. This is the first time I've seen Asuka in the kind of the defensive position for that length of time in a match. And what people forget is that, Asuka has been doing this for 10, 11 years now, I believe. That's a long period of time. She's got a lot of skill, a lot of time in the ring. She brings an experience level that when you speak of Nia Jax, having been in the ring for 1 year as a pro doing this, wow. Yeah. To be able to push somebody at that level, and Asuka is arguably the best in the world. I don't think it's a setback for Nia Jax. I think it's just a stutter step to get where she wants to be, which is being one of the best in the world. She says it all the time. There is nobody else like her, and there isn't, and she's going to continue to show that.
What does that mean for the other women here at NXT, from Bayley to other women who might want to get into the title picture?
Yeah, I think they're on notice. I don't think Nia Jax is going anywhere, but I also think it proves to them that I think a lot of people thought that Nia Jax was going to walk through Asuka in some way, that, you know, Asuka's tough and Asuka's this, just this banshee in the ring that just goes nuts, and but that it wasn't going to work against Nia Jax, and I think Asuka proved them wrong. I think that's two people at the top that aren't going anywhere fast, and when you start to talk about Bayley coming back from her injury, man, it's a really impressive landscape. And when you know what I know, and you know who's on the doorstep of coming in here and who's about to make their debut, the women's division of NXT is about to get really interesting really fast.
Well, there's got to be a huge sense of pride in Asuka, who has retained her NXT Women's Championship, now gets to go with WWE to Japan, back home. That's got to be incredible for her.
Yeah, I mean, I think for her tonight, part of that pressure of remaining NXT Women's Champion was able to go home as champion, able to go back to Japan in front of her family and friends and her country and say, I'm the best that there is. I'm sure she put a lot of pressure on herself to do that tonight.
Yeah. Finally, we witnessed NXT's first ever steel cage match. NXT champion Samoa Joe versus Finn Balor. Samoa Joe, of course, retained the NXT championship by doing a muscle buster to Finn Balor off the top rope after Balor was just about to escape the cage. So what does this mean for the landscape of NXT moving forward?
Wow, you know, again, NXT the end, and that's what you kind of look for, was the end of this rivalry between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. The truth is, while that was very definitive and it was inside of a steel cage and there is no arguing, Samoa Joe, who I believe is really hitting his stride now here. You know, there's a transition period of time when you go any place new, and I think it took Joe a while, but now he is firmly inside his head. He is the NXT champion. He is NXT. And I feel sorry for anybody that tries to tell him he isn't. Because Joe is what he says he is. He's a monster. Finn Balor, you know, one thing I will say about being a champion, and I've been in this position before, the pressure is immense and it is on you the whole time. You are driven harder than anybody else. Finn Balor being champion 290 plus days, that's a lot of pressure for a long period of time, and as that pressure builds, you start to wear. You redline the car for so long it begins to break down. The longer you go, the more the odds are against you to retain. But Joe, you know, when Joe beat Finn Balor, Finn didn't take his foot off the gas at all. He just came right back at him and went right back into that mix, and I think he put a little bit of too much pressure on himself, maybe, gets into this cage match with Samoa Joe, and ends up on the short end of it, you know. That being said, I don't see Finn Balor walking away. I don't see Samoa Joe being in a position now where he can take his foot off the gas at all, because what it looked like to me tonight is he's got a bunch of people breathing down his neck, and probably the most prominent of that being Shinsuke Nakamura. If I'm Samoa Joe, I'm looking hard at Shinsuke Nakamura right now and trying to figure out what that game plan is going to be, because that battle is coming.
I mean, that gets me really excited. I'm sure it gets the NXT universe excited as well. So what does this mean for NXT, and specifically, what does this mean for you? What do you have coming up?
Well, for NXT and for me, it's just continuing on this path of explosive growth for NXT. We leave from here this weekend to go to the Download Festival in the UK. Amazing music festival. NXT Loud brings NXT some of the best music in the world that you know, works with us on these events and with our talent, and that Download Festival is a part of that. 3 days in the UK with 100,000 fans at each day. It's amazing, and NXT is a massive part of that, having matches within the fairgrounds itself. and then continuing on and touring the UK with Ireland and going to Liverpool and Bournemouth, and so it's a full tour. NXT is taking over the globe, and I look forward to taking it further and further. And then of course it's summertime, so SummerSlam is coming, and we just made the announcement that NXT TakeOver Brooklyn will take place the night before SummerSlam, and tickets actually go on sale this Saturday. So that one last year was sold out. That one's going to go fast. So if you're going to be in New York area for SummerSlam, I would make sure you're ready to go on Saturday, because it's not going to take long. I have a feeling the NXT universe is ravenous, and they pick these things up fast. So it's continuing the growth. Like I said, this is the end of the beginning. We're just getting started, and NXT is just going to go higher and higher and higher. Where we stop, nobody knows.
Yeah, I was sitting at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, and I can attest that crowd was just electric, and I know that it will be this year as well.
Absolutely will be. I can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you so much for taking the time. Again, COO of WWE and the man behind NXT, Triple H. Thank you again. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for watching TakeOver. The end.